What is your name?
Barbara Jean Fillmore, Filmore.
What year you were born?
August 22nd, 1945.
And do you have any siblings?
Yes, it was nine of us. Myself, Walter, Patricia, Lois, Debbie, Annette, Wayne, Willie, Jerome. Well,
And
Willie is the baby. Jerome should have came before Willie, but it's still nine of us.
mm, yeah.
I am the oldest one.
And what was like being the oldest? Did you what was like being the oldest? Did you like it or hated it?
Well, I didn't grow up with them until I was 13, but I used to see them just about every year. I would either go to Alabama or they'll come here to visit me here in West Palm Beach to see me until I was 13. I'm
What
from, I was born in Birmingham, Alabama, and I came to Florida in 1948. Yes.
did you experience any racism, segregation?
Not that I could remember. I know it was a big difference. I used to hear my grandma talking, but I didn't experience it until I got older and I come back to Florida.
How come?
Um, I guess my grandmother and my mom and my dad, they kept us sheltered from that.
Okay, so you didn't come across any like whites only sign or colored only signs?
What's that?
You didn't come across any white only signs like for restrooms or
Oh yes, yes. Here in Florida, um, I we I used to hear my aunt say we couldn't go in the white section. They had a bathroom or restaurant for the blacks where they call us Negroes then, where we had to either go to the back or the side. But I was a kid. I didn't pay it any attention until I got older and I saw a big difference.
so you're more carefree when you're a kid?
I grew up a little more carefree than most people probably did, black people did. I can remember going over in Palm Beach um, with my grandmother
Mm-hmm.
to play with the white children that she took care of over in Palm Beach.
So
I can remember that uh, the first black, the first white doctor we had downtown on Clematis, which my grandmother sent us to Dr. Ford, Lynn Ford, um, due to the fact that she was the housekeeper for Dr. Callerman. And that's how we were one of his first black patients that he had, our family.
how did life in Florida compare to life in Cleveland?
Well, like I said, at the age of 13, I started seeing a big difference. My mom had a lot of children.
Nine of you. Am I correct?
Excuse me?
Nine of you. Am I correct? 9 siblings.
Yes. And I didn't get to do a lot of things that I did when I lived with my mom's mother, which is my granny, and like I did when I went up north with my dad. But I got to travel a lot with my dad, my brother and I.
Um, where did you travel?
My dad would come from Racine, Wisconsin, and come to Florida with his boat.
Racing, Wisconsin.
Racine, Wisconsin,
Okay.
with his boat to get my brother and I. And he would take us to Alabama, and we would stay in the summer in Birmingham, Alabama. And then we'll come back on the Greyhound bus. I was able to travel by my. I was able to travel by myself on the Greyhound bus coming back from Birmingham to West Palm. My dad's sisters would tag me and my brother, and we would come back home by ourselves on the bus. Back then, it wasn't dangerous like it is now. About people bothering your children. People help you then. The neighbors help raise us. And I was raised up around UB Kenzie, the Dysons, the Stevensons, the Colemans. I could remember as a little girl, Joe Louis came. Joe Louis, he was the prize fighter coming to West Palm Beach. And I lived right across the street during that time from them. And I got to see Joe Louis as a little girl, living with the Dysons, which I grew up around. A lot of big people. So I didn't suffer or experience things that other kids experience. People thought we had money, and we didn't have no money. My grandmother only made $18 a week. But I dressed nice, I ate well, and people respected my grandmother and I. And if I did anything that was distasteful or disrespectful, they made sure they told my grandma.
You said UB Kenzie. You mean the school?
UB Kenzie of Palm. During that time, he was the principal of Palmview Elementary. I grew up with him and went to school with his children, also his family I grew up with.
What was the school like in?
It was.
What was the school like in Cleveland?
I went to school with. I was going to junior high during that time, and it was different. I went to school with the whites. The whites got along just like the blacks. It was different. I had to act more grown up then
Because you had to set an example for your family.
because I was there to help with my siblings.
So
And it was just different. We had more places to go besides the movies.
Did you go to school with whites in Florida?
No.
That wasn't allowed whatsoever.
Huh?
That wasn't allowed whatsoever.
Not then. Not back then.
Okay. And so you have to set an example for your siblings. Quitting wasn't an option at all during high school.
Yeah. Cooking?
Quitting wasn't an option at all
Oh,
during high
no.
school.
Mary Petty didn't allow that. I had to make a good pattern for my brothers and sisters. No. No. That was going to be done. That was knocked in my head already from my grandmother and Mary Petty, which is my mom, and my stepfather, Willie Petty. No.
Did your other siblings finish?
I made a good pattern for them, but the first two, didn't actually fall behind me, but later in life they did.
So they dropped out of school at first, and
Yes,
they
for
went
some
back.
reason or another. I won't go into that. But they did go back to school later in life and was very successful.
Okay. And you said you were born in 1945, am I correct?
Right.
So you went through all the events like World War II, the Korean War, the Civil Rights Movement, the JFK assassination. Starting from World War II, what was it like during that time period?
I can't tell you that. I was too young to think about anything like that. I heard about it, but I don't know.
Okay. What about the Civil Rights Movement?
I know in Cleveland, I got to see Martin Luther King.
In Cleveland?
Yes.
And face to
And
face?
Jesse Jackson and all of them. But I didn't march with him. My first husband did, but I didn't. They were in the neighborhood. The march was started in the neighborhood where I lived at. Um, but yes. Um,
Was there rioting? For example, did police intervene with violence, with attack dogs? And
it was a lot of riots. The last riot I was in 60, I think it was 63. It was in between 63 and 65, the last bad riot that I was in.
okay.